Okay, so today is going to be good. I want to talk to you about 10 things you really should know about um, soul ties. So I have a soul tie prayer that's been pretty popular on this channel, and I've just started sharing some little nuggets about soul ties, basic things that the average person doesn't even know. And even when posting it, I got questions. What is a soul tie exactly? So let me just start out by saying there are good soul ties, like, the soul tie when you come together with someone in marriage. That's a good soul tie because the two are becoming one and you're tied together in the spirit, right? Um, Jonathan and David had a good soul tie. There's scripture. Soul ties are scriptural. So if you haven't already watched my soul ties prayer video, go and do that. I have a playlist for deliverance and prayers, and I have a soul tie prayer in there. And before I even start praying, I share a little bit about what a soul tie is, right? So a couple of the tips I've been sharing on social media, most importantly Facebook, because I have insane engagement over there. And I thank you all for engaging. I thank you for liking the page over there. If you haven't already, it is facebook.com/6 figure your passion. So see, it started out being about business, how to six figure your passion. And the Lord has just led me. I still talk about money. I still talk a little bit about business over there, but it's just whatever the Lord wants me to share at this point. That's what goes on at that chat over at that particular page, right? So nobody wants to be alone, and these are some of the tips that I've shared. You watching this, you probably have seen these on my page. If not, go and look. Nobody wants to be alone, but you don't need the demons and issues of a random, meaning random person, keeping you stuck and unable to break through. So sometimes people aren't able to break through, and they have these random people in their lives that they call, that they have sex with, that they call and tell they need money. These people, you're coming into agreement with them by accepting their offer, by sleeping with them. That's agreement, and you are creating soul ties that are going to keep you broke and unable to break through, right? I also shared, and this is what started it all, soul ties can prevent you from getting married, right? Although you say you want the new, your mind, will, and emotions can still be connected to the old. So you can be a person who's saying, listen, I do want to be married, but in the back of your head, you're still reminiscing on the wonderful relationship you had with this person who's moved on or is now married. And in the back of your mind, you're wondering what if, and what if we were still together? What would our life look like now? That's a soul tie, right? The key is you must take your whole heart with you when love is over. And I have a book, Soul Ties, Breaking Soul Ties, How to Take Your Whole Heart with You When Love is Over. You can get it on my page at sixfigureyourpassion.com and click Shop Now, or you can go to Amazon. It's available for download there too. But when you leave, you have to take your whole heart. People love saying these cute things and, things that people say in movies like, oh, I'm going to love you forever. I'm never going to stop loving you. Stop making vows like that and take your love with you, so when God introduces you or puts you before the right person, you're not a fragment of yourself. You're not 75% person. You're 100% because you took all of your love back that didn't work in those relationships, and now you have all of you to give to someone else. I also said, some people actually do get married. So there are people who go into relationships who have soul ties. And, they're saying, well, what are you talking about? It didn't keep me from getting married. I got married. But I said some people actually do get married, but the marriage doesn't last because a marriage requires all of you and soul ties steal some of you. So you can get married, but if part of you is still wishing and hoping or in another relationship, or, you wish your wife looked like this, or you wish your husband looked like that, that's a soul tie. You're still in the past, or you're still hoping and reminiscing for something, and the person you have is viewed as a placeholder, and that's why it doesn't work. So let me get into the 10 things, because I haven't even started that yet. So I talked about the ungodly soul ties and the godly soul ties, because there's good and bad. But here's the number one thing. You can have a soul tie even if you never had sex. So people are equating, well, I couldn't have a soul tie, I didn't sleep with them. A soul tie is not based on sex alone. There are people who talk to people online, get catfished, and have conversations with someone for a year or 2 years, before you even meet. All that commonality, all that sharing, all of that listening, all of that, putting yourself into the conversation, all of that is what creates soul ties. That's your mind, will, and emotions. And if any part of you is connected to another person like that, you can have a soul tie, right? So number 2, when you break a soul tie, it can feel like a divorce, or it can make you feel like you are in mourning. Why? Because like I said, your husband is the one, or your wife is the one who you're designed to come together with and become one. So when you become one with like random people, and then that's pulled apart and doesn't work, it feels like a divorce, because really that's where the good soul tie is supposed to take place. Yes, you can have soul ties in friendships, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like in dating relationships. When it's over, it can feel like a divorce, because you were never supposed to share and go so deep on so many levels with a person that you're not married to. That's why, men, you can't just go confiding in any random woman when you're married. That can create a soul tie, even though you're married. Women, same thing. Stop telling your girlfriends everything. They know all about your relationships in and out, and then you wonder why it doesn't work out. You wonder why issues keep popping up in your marriage, because you're creating ties, with the negative talk about your husband or your wife with other people, and that will tear down, drain, and it will sever that connection, right? That was number 2. Number 3, you have to purge stuff. Things you might not want to get rid of. Gucci, Louboutins, Prada. It doesn't matter what they gave you or what the value of those things are. The only way to explain it is, I had a pastor once tell me, an apostle, and he said that, a witch came to his meeting, right, and wanted to give him a gift. He refused the gift. Why? Because he had enough wisdom to know that a lot of time witches and people who practice other stuff too, they will give you gifts so it's in your house, and they are able to monitor you through this thing that they gave you, this figurine or this picture you're hanging on the wall. They give you a scarf and you're wrapping it around your neck. You don't know the prayers that people have prayed over stuff. Same thing with the stuff that these men and women have bought and given you. You might say, well, those are my favorite shoes. Well, you can keep your favorite shoes and keep the soul tie, or you can break the soul tie and get rid of anything that's trying to reinforce that soul tie, right? That's what you need to do. Number 4, and I'm not rushing, but I gave you all this pre-stuff, and I still want to get through all 10 without this ending up being a 30-minute video. If you've ever been molested, raped, you have to break soul ties with the person who did that to you. Does that mean you were in love? Does that mean it was consensual? Does that mean it was your fault? No, that's not what it means. But it means that when people come together, the spirits that are on you are on them, and it goes back and forth. So that spirit of lust that made them touch you inappropriately, that spirit of rape that made them forcefully take from you what they wanted, you have to now sever those soul ties and break any connection in the spirit. You see, there's always so much going on in the spirit. If we live our lives just looking in the natural and seeing what we can see, we'll walk around blind, because there's so much going on in the spirit realm, and that's what soul ties deals with. It deals with what's going on in the spirit realm, not necessarily the natural, right? So if you've been abused, even if it wasn't molestation or rape, if you've been financially abused, if you've been verbally abused by a person, you need to break ties with that, and do not stay in a relationship where people treat you like that because you don't feel like you can get anything better. God has greater for you. All you have to do is step out in faith, and He will do the rest. Number 5, withdrawal from soul ties can make you rebel against all common sense. So what does that mean? When you create a tie with someone, it doesn't matter if they treat you good or bad. That's the thing people don't understand. They say, oh, well, he beats her. Why doesn't she just leave? Because she has a soul tie. That soul tie will make you abandon all common sense. It will make you look at the flowers he brought to say he was sorry, or she said she was sorry, and forget about when your eye was swollen or your lip was swollen because they beat you. So it can withdraw from that, or the fear of, not having a connection to that person anymore can make you rebel against all common sense, right? Number 6, a soul tie can mask your personality, right? So like Sybil, if you've never broken soul ties in your life, and you have just been like, in relationship here, there, just relationship hopping because you want love and you really wanted to find someone. If you've never broken soul ties, you can be like Sybil, with like a mash up of people and spirits and all kinds of things in you that you have to deal with. And these things can mask your personality. And once you're delivered, once you break these soul ties, then the real you can emerge. You walking around liking a certain food or liking to watch a certain thing on TV because of a soul tie, and when that tie is broken, you're like, when did I start eating this? Why would I be watching a show like this? Then you're no longer under the spell that ungodly soul tie created in your life. So like I said, it can mask your personality like Sybil. If you've ever seen the movie Sybil, you want to break free so that doesn't happen to you. And I said 10 things. I'm sorry, it's 7 things, because I'd be going on forever if I gave you 10 things about soul ties. So number 7, you can have soul ties with the same sex. Does that mean, oh, I'm a woman and I want her, or I'm a man and I want him? That's not what it means at all. But again, like I explained, a soul tie is just a knitting together, like Jonathan and David, which was a good soul tie, but it can be done in a negative way. So perfect example, when I had people I was friends with, when they started trying to curse me, when they talked about me, when they went to certain people and felt okay sharing negative stuff about me with them, I had to go in and break those soul ties. That doesn't mean I was intimate with these women. That just means that I've shared commonalities. I shared private stuff. We've had hour and 2 hour long conversations about things that knitted us together in the spirit. And unfortunately, when people do that kind of stuff and when relationships end, you have to sever those ties. Okay? So those are the 7 things about soul ties that you really need to know and understand, and begin going through the list. If you do not know how to do this, find someone who can assist you. Yes, it's on us to break this stuff off of our life, but it's nothing wrong with finding someone to get you help. Same thing with deliverance if you need help in that particular area. So I hope these tips have helped you. I hope they bless you, because I want to see ultimately people free so that God can say, okay, now she's ready. You're not ready just because you read the book. You're not ready just because, you went to a marriage webinar or seminar, but you are ready when you break these ties and you're no longer connected to all these random people in the spirit, and God can now say, okay, son, or okay, daughter, this is the one for you. Some of us want that without doing the work. It doesn't work like that, okay? So I'm sharing this. Share it with someone that you love. Share it with someone who probably doesn't know this. Don't keep this to yourself. Don't be a Christian hoarder. I talk about that in my book, Bring Me Into a Wealthy Place. We should not be Christian hoarders. So when you get good information, don't just keep it to yourself because you want to be the only one who knows this and be elevated in your own mind, but share it so that someone else can get free. Amen. See you next time.